Okay, so we're going to talk about the session that we saw today. Carolina, do you want to start with what theories you had?
Yeah, so we're discussing the DeJ, what was her last name?
DeJ Loaf.
DeJ Loaf, there you go. Okay, so the two, I mean, I picked up on a few theories, but the main ones that I picked up on was this was listed in the sheet that the professor provided, the transpersonal theory, where it, like, he invites her to look beyond, like, her persona as a celebrity, in which she's very guarded and she's been betrayed and like she's had money stolen from her, and to kind of, he'd like ask her to like maybe bring love into everything, not only intimate relationships. I don't know if you guys picked up on that, where he tells her that it's not necessarily about intimate relationships, that she could see and bring love into any situation, even the one about her betrayal and like them taking money from her, like her putting up a boundary or moving forward, she could um you know I guess state what she's okay with and what she's not okay with, and that in itself is love, and I'm trying to see here. Yeah, so he gives her, like, he invites her to give herself permission to see love in everything she does and to learn the lesson. And I guess transpersonal theory is, give me 1 second. So based on this, it means beyond or through the persona or mask. And from what she was sharing with him, she functions primarily under her like celebrity persona the majority of the time, and she's learned to kind of go through the motions of life like that. And let me see, the other one that I chose was relational theory. I kind of liked it from the discussion that we had earlier today in class, where it's kind of about the partnership between the therapist and the client. And he mentions in the beginning of the video where he notices that he was excited to work with her because she's so relaxed and she seems open to the experience with him. And like, he asks her questions, but I noticed at the end, during their session, she also asked him a question. And it kind of seemed like they were both really comfortable with each other and she wasn't just looking at him like a clinician. So that's what I have for the theories.
All right, Crystal, you want to share what you have?
So she the same, the trans personal theory. So I'm gonna just piggyback off of her because that's something that stood out to me. So being that she's a celebrity, and I'm very familiar with who she is. So she's like a new celebrity, So she's kind of going through the motions of adapting to who she is and this celebrity that she is, and she's kind of in denial of that. So like in the transpersonal theory, she masks who she is. She also discussed like shutting down or like isolating herself when she feels hurt, because in the past she has past trauma where she felt hurt. So this is aside from that, I'm just discussing it a little bit more. So she's numb. She's going through like emotional numbness. She doesn't know how to love, and he emphasized a lot on loving herself. He let her being free from everything going on around her, her past. What else? That's about it.
Crystal, you also brought up the narrative theory, where you kind of agreed with that too. Remember when her dad, she says that her dad, that was his story.
So yeah, so for the narrative theory, she kind of goes into talking about her past traumatic experience of her father passing away at 4 years old, I believe. Yeah.
Yes.
He went out to go get a movie and her mother witnessed it. And, she grew up without a father, how she was like basically like a product of her environment, but she really doesn't want to live that kind of life. And she grew up rough pretty much. So she kind of goes into, narrating that her life from what she can remember until now, pretty much. Her trauma, her past trauma.
Yeah, I think those are good. I also have the client or person-centered theory. I think Carolina, you already mentioned that one. Did you? No, you did a
No,
relational
no, I
one.
hadn't.
You did, yeah.
So I agreed with the relational one, but the client person-centered theory just has to do with the therapist being very present with the client and having active listening skills, and you can tell he was
He was
totally,
very in tune.
yeah,
Yeah.
very in tune to her, listening to her every like word and even her body language. Um and then I also picked the systems theory, which is the relationship between elements as a whole. So I correlated like her depression. Well, he did too. The depression that she had was because of the environment she was raised in, because her dad died. So her mom didn't have enough money and they had to live with her grandma. And then her grandma did not treat her well.
Not
At
to cut you off,
least,
but do you remember she made a comment and she said, you know, she didn't know she was depressed because she was only 4 years old. So
right.
she didn't know she was going through it. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So he's correlating all these in her life.
Mhm.
Like you were this way because of this, and that's, how it happened. And then also it's how she kind of coped from her childhood and the circumstances that happened. And he brought this out too. Like she was a person who would flee or freeze. And so because of that, like didn't know how to have feelings because she would freeze and like not actually feel those. And that caused her in her present life then to not be able to feel much, and so that's why her personality as a singer and in her personal life, she was living at 50% of both because she can't feel fully because she turned that off when she was little. So the next thing we'll talk about, unless you guys have anything to add to that.
No, for the theories, no.
Sounds good.
So we'll do the model of intervention. Crystal, you want to start with what you have?
No, you could go. You could go.
Okay, so I have as a model of intervention the solution focus, which she like said when she gets mad at people, she isolates and holds a grudge for a long time. So, he talked about that with her, talked through that with her, to give her some solutions like breathing. And he could have even been when he's using the stones with her at the end, that could be part of the
Say that.
solution of her
Yeah.
being able to work through her anger and her holding grudges of people. And then the second one I had was the CBT, so cognitive behavioral therapy. And that's the relationship between her thoughts, feelings, and behaviors so that they can identify patterns of irrational and self-destructive thoughts and behaviors. So basically she has to like recognize the behaviors, the emotions, the thoughts, and figure out like how they all correlate together and what it means to have all of those things. So that would be a good way to work through that. And he did that a little bit, but our video is so short, like it would take multiple sessions to help her realize the correlation between all of those. All right.
Just to piggyback off of the stones, I think it does correlate with like a meditation kind of thing, like a meditation theory, reducing like the sympathetic nervous system, like kind of relax her. She was relaxed to me, but I don't know. Maybe she was a little nervous. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I
She was
agree with you. I don't know if you were done, Linda, with
Yeah,
your
I'm done.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
with the what order are we on? The models of intervention?
Yeah.
So I was looking at the narrative model is also where I know we mentioned it as a theory, but I guess as far as like a model of intervention, he posed a question to her to not make the statement about, her dad's murder being like the sum of his entire life, like, or that was like his life was him being murdered. He invited her to, see her life and that part or chapter in her life as not the only important thing or the main thing that happened with her father. So I guess in that, for model of intervention, it could have been, I saw narrative, the meditation therapy, with the crystals, the affirmations, the deep breathing. And yeah, he had her reframe her story. I'm trying to see what other, I think those were the main ones that I saw.
Okay. Crystal, you have anything to add? Okay.
No, nothing else.
So now we'll talk about the different methods or skills. Do you want to start with this one, Crystal?
Well, you putting me on the spot, huh? No. Go ahead. Go ahead, somebody.
Okay. So I have some of the skills that he used is empathy and listening skills, and we kind of talked about that through the client-centered and relational theory. He also used unconditional positive regard, which is non-judgmental and a caring capacity. And excuse me, and I think part of his like making her repeat over and over and over that she's loved, that she has love, that she, can love herself. I mean, he did that multiple different ways and had her say it different ways. It could be a part of the unconditional positive regard, and not only for what he has for her, but so that she can have that on her own, have it of herself, and just understand, who she is, and be positive about who she is. And then I also have another method would be the concrete communication. So that's disclosure, task-oriented communication. And the client is focused without their self-disclosure stuff. I don't know, kind of working from the heart is one way that it can be put, but the concrete communication is just, helping her feel things and hear things and say things that can help her heart, basically. How about you, Carolina?
Yes. Okay. So, I saw that he validated like her experiences growing up. She talked about getting whoopings, or what did he say? Whoopings or beatings?
Yeah.
And he kind of validated her experience, so that I felt like he said it so that she didn't feel, or, for lack of a better explanation, didn't like throw her grandmother under the bus and make her seem like a monster. Like he's like, yeah, it's a cultural thing, as well, like the whoopings. So I feel like he validated her and like her reality and didn't make her feel like negative about it. In that way, he was also empathetic. I'm trying to think if he mirrored for her. I'm not sure if I picked up on that.
I didn't have that as an example specifically.
Yeah. No, I didn't either. So no, I saw he showed a lot of empathy. He validated her experiences. Let me see what else. I'm thinking I always bring up motivational interviewing, but I don't think he used that in this one. I didn't see it. I didn't see that he used that. So that's all I got. I don't know what you got, Crystal.
Nothing else? You're good?
No,
All right.
nothing
Well,
else.
I guess that's all we have for today. I will stop the recording. Maybe stop. Here we go.